How far is too far to walk? It's hard to put a precise number to a question like this since it's affected by so many variables. But for Georgia Southern students, the answer seems to be not far enough. On the average weekday, to say Georgia Southern University's public transit system is strained would be an understatement. Buses are consistently full past their intended capacity to the point where they start to feel like sardine cans. At least for the 15 minutes between classes, that is. For the remaining 45 minutes on the hour, the buses are utterly empty. Some students turn to bicycles as a way to get around, but bike theft and car accidents are ever-present fears, and designated bike lanes are few and far between. So what's the solution? We went to Christy Bryant, head of parking and transportation for GSU, to get some information.
All right, so a little bit of history behind the transit program. I was a student here many, many moons ago.
Mm-hmm.
We did not have buses. We walked everywhere. And amazingly, we got it done in 10 minutes. But there came a point where we were...
Ms. Bryant goes on to explain the comparatively humble origins of the bus system at Georgia Southern.
We still are.
They only had 5 buses, but the difference is made even more unbelievable when we start to get into the numbers.
But those buses are owned and maintained by First Transit. They are not our buses.
Mm-hmm.
What we do is we hire them to have a turnkey operation. And they do all the maintenance, they pay for all the gas, they pay for all the drivers. How is that funded? Through your student transportation fee of $55. And at our current rate, we're charged per bus per hour. Okay? And that current rate is $104.94 per bus per hour.
The number is startling, especially when you consider how many buses Georgia Southern runs on a daily basis. And at $55 per semester, over an entire academic year, your transportation fees barely pay to run one bus for an hour.
Okay, which translates into roughly $14,000 a day.
So why can't the school just add more buses to solve the overcrowding issue? The information we collected from Christy Bryant answered this question and also shocked us when we learned about the cost of buses. The school actually contracts an outside company, First Transit, to run the buses. With this being said, the university cannot simply add more buses. That would make the traffic problem worse and the cost would be massive. In fact, it costs $104 for a single bus to run for a mere hour. Each student pays $55 per semester for transportation fees. Therefore, a single student over 2 semesters barely covers the price to have a bus run for an hour. We did the math. It costs the school over $200,000 to run just one bus for the entire year. Multiply that by 12 buses that the school runs and it comes out to be greater than $2.5 million to provide transportation for the school year. Based on these calculations, each student's transportation fee should be raised from $55 to $65 per semester, and that only breaks even. The problem is not the lack of buses, but actually the fact that every student would rather ride the bus during the 15 minutes between classes than just to walk.
So what about biking? We first thought that riding your bike would be the ideal way to get around campus to avoid the crowd on the bus. After looking into it more, riding bikes comes with problems of its own. Where can students actually ride their bikes? What happens if your bike gets stolen? We returned to Christy Bryant with the Parking and Transportation Department and also got some input from the campus chief of police, Laura McCullough.
From a lot of what you said, it actually seems like the bus system is sort of hampering any chances of improving infrastructure for, say, bike lanes and various stuff like that on campus. It seems like almost if you were to have that shift in student behavior towards more walking and biking as well, you could probably lean less on the bus system and in turn be able to support the biking better.
I agree. That's a kind of a two-part answer, and let me explain.
Mm-hmm.
The part of campus that has bike lanes is primarily Forest through the Central Core campus, and they extend around to just about right here.
It's pretty clear that the main reason why there aren't more bike lanes on campus is bureaucracy. Some streets and sections of streets are out of the university's jurisdiction, and others are stuck in historic areas the university has an interest in preserving.
So, we're working with the city, and if you'll notice over here, there's no sidewalks. And we're working together to get together a comprehensive pedestrian plan over there.
So, though bureaucracy is slowing things down, they're trying to work with it. But there are still areas of campus that are of concern.
We are, as a campus, dedicated to bike safety.
It's not like our words are empty. Campus is littered with bike racks, and anywhere that doesn't have full bike lanes, at the very least, has share the road signs. But all this freedom comes with a caveat.
Technically, bikes are not allowed on sidewalks.
And some of the most common routes bikers on campus take are actually considered sidewalks. So perhaps we should be thankful the university chose to turn a blind eye to most of these cases. Now, shifting gears, no pun intended, we went to Laura McCullough, the chief of police for the University Police Department here at Georgia Southern, to ask about bike theft and how to prevent it.
How often do you receive reports of stolen bikes?
I had our investigative captain pull numbers. So, like in the academic period last school year, for the entire year, we only had 38 calls for stolen bicycles.
And even if you consider that those are only the ones that are reported, that's still not that many. Chief McCullough went on to really emphasize that the best way to protect your bike on campus was to use a U-lock. And besides that,
is to register your bicycle, because if something does happen to it, we have to know that is your bicycle. We have to have some sort of positive proof. So if you go online, the Leads Online program is what we use to register bicycles, and register your bike with the serial number that is on it. That way we have positive proof this bicycle belonged to this person.
Now we're back to where we started. Buses are overcrowded, and storing and navigating your bike through campus can be difficult. So where do we look to now? Walking! The general student body avoids walking as if it were the plague.
Though safety should always be a concern when walking, the university provides an excellent option to ensure that students get home safely. No matter what time of night, free of charge, you can always call for an escort to walk you home. If you have the Live Safe app, the escort can be arranged directly from it. The app also provides an emergency button that, when pressed, will connect you to the police. Plus, there's a campus map that tracks your location, so it's easier to share with authorities or a friend or a family member to ensure you get from point A to point B. The Chief of Police comfortingly assured us that keeping the campus well lit throughout the night was a priority for them, since with a well lit campus, there are less opportunities for a crime to happen. In fact, the amount of incidents reported over the past year was 0. With these interviews, we were able to get answers to questions that most students don't always consider when getting from one point to another throughout the day. It became clear that a lot more time, effort, and money goes into coordinating transportation at Georgia Southern University than we'd assumed. So in conclusion, walk. You can't get stopped by traffic or parked in like a sardine on a bus. There's no front tire on your legs to get stolen. You don't need to lock them up anytime you go inside, and it's legal to use them on sidewalks. Even if you can't shake the fear of getting mugged under the streetlights at Georgia Southern, an escort is only one call away. Plus, it's good exercise. When is that ever a bad thing?